What's the worst thing about being a man? Story 1. I'm also pursuing a career in education. I want to become a high school English teacher because I love working with younger people, even if it's not a huge market for male teachers. Sorry to hear about your dream being crushed. I'm a little worried as I've heard from my previous teachers about how they once received a couple of anonymous complaints from parents that they were worried he was trying to get with the female students. Story 2. A guy, worked as a daycare worker for a few years. One day, some 12-year-old girl told one of the workers he had commented on her boobs, so he was immediately fired. The next day, the girl asked where he was, and then when they explained it to her, she said she was lying because she thought it would be funny. So they offered him his job back, but the whole situation was so mortifying that he never worked with children again. Story 3. A few years ago, I offered to take my then girlfriend's, now wife, 12-year-old sister to the dentist because I was the only one available. I had a decent enough relationship with her at the time, but the receptionist asked who I was once I got there. Her reply, I don't know, some guy. Great, now I have to worry if they're secretly calling the cops while I wait, even though I explained who I was. She thought it would be a funny thing to say. I didn't take her anywhere like that alone again. That's the kind of stuff that can ruin a man's life for absolutely no reason. 12-year-old girls can have a twisted sense of humor. Story 4. I'm on vacation, and yesterday I had to babysit my cousin while my aunt and mom were trying out clothes. A concerned employee asked what we were doing, and she said, I don't know him. He just sat near me. Great. Keep in mind that I'm 17 and she's 11. And the thing is, we do know each other. If her mom didn't come out when she did, the police probably would have been called. Story 5. I have a 4-year-old daughter that has a gymnastics class every Friday. I can't sit with all the moms and watch my kid. It would come off as me pedos scanning all the young kids and teens. I feel gross even being there. Even though I have a completely innocent presence, my solution is to be on Reddit on my phone or bring my Nintendo Switch and bury my head. Then I feel like I'm disinterested in my kid. Story 6. I'm a father. That means I'm a bumbling idiot regarding my kid. I've changed as many diapers as her mom. I've stayed up with her all night several times. I took 3 months off work to spend with her when she was a baby. Admittedly, I'm not great at doing hair, but I can put it in a ponytail. Fathers aren't morons when it comes to their kids. I can raise mine as well as any mom. Story 7. I'll never forget being on the playground with my girl and all the soccer moms. I'm starting to notice whispers and glances. Finally, some nosy woman comes up to me. No, hello? No, excuse me. Instead, just aggressive, where is her mother? I wanted to escalate and say none of your damned business. I didn't. I ate crow and said she's at work. She wasn't. She just didn't want to come to the playground with Nina and me. I was livid. Story 8. I was 25 when my first child was born. The first time I took him to the grocery store, he was about 6 months old. 2 minutes into the trip, we were all at the deli counter. A lady asked whose child it was, so I said he was my son. She said, is his mom around? You don't look like the father. I swear that shit echoes in my head occasionally to this day. Story 9. I watched all the kids' cartoons with my kids, and the father is always the bumbling idiot falling over for laughs. Meanwhile, the mom can do no wrong. It's so ingrained in society that even cartoons emulate that stereotype. So stay strong. One day, people will see what we do. Story 10. My mom died suddenly in September. All I've wanted is for a friend to hug me and be willing to listen. My wife's girlfriends will, but none of my male friends, despite telling them I'm hurting. Story 11. A couple of years ago, I met a girl who responded to my emotional vulnerability with compassion, understanding, and trust. She says that my soft heart is one of the things she fell in love with. We got married not long after. Last year, October, my older sister, my closest friend since I was a child, died suddenly of COVID. I was devastated. I wouldn't have survived if I didn't have my wife and her supportive family. I wouldn't go back, and I started to break down. But whatever I do, my wife is always there to hug, reassure, and help me through it. My mother-in-law did the same when my wife was at work. I'm a tremendously lucky man. Story 12. While in flight school for the Army, I lived next door to a single mom of 2. One was a boy about 6 years old. He knew I had a dog and would come over almost every day, usually while I was studying, and ask if we could come out to play. Sometimes I would, and sometimes I was too busy, but I always felt the way you do, like other neighbors who were judgmental. Finally, one day he showed up wearing an old army jacket and hat that his mom found at the thrift store and gave me the giant salute when I opened the door. At that moment, I decided to forget what those people were thinking and try to be the best role model I could be. And yes, we went outside and played that day. Story 13. As a father of 2 kiddos, 8 and 6, I love that our babysitter's boyfriend will occasionally show up and play with the kids, build Legos with them. He's 21, and is a significantly older male influence. You're being a king to these kids by being a positive influence. Bonus points for helping reinforce the parents' roles and parenting styles. Story 14. I'm just imagining these kids coming over and ringing your doorbell. Then you ask if you can come out and play like they would with another one of their friends who has to ask their parents. And your response is just, "You're goddamn right, I can." And they're all in awe because you didn't have to yell or ask your parents' permission to go outside. Story 15. A month ago, I took my daughter to her 1 monthly appointment. Nurse said, "Oh, you're on dad duty today?" So first, I'm always on dad duty. Second, I took my son to 90% of his appointments. Story 16. I saw the shift as I entered my teens. I wasn't a child and received no sympathy or care for my problems. Man up or get over it when female families got lots of compassion and understanding. Once I started earning money and could provide more, I was suddenly super popular. When my wage dropped over COVID, I was ignored. I learned a valuable lesson though. Much more selfish now, but still generous with the people that stuck by me. Story 17. I bought a man flowers once as an initiation. I had them sent to our work and watched as he received them at his desk. A dozen long stem roses. I'd never seen a man so happy. We've been married for almost 12 years now. One of the reasons I did it was because no man had ever given me flowers, and I figured to give the person I wanted to date the thing no one ever gave me. Story 18. People look at me weirdly when I tell them I'm single by choice. I had a girlfriend for 5 years, and I've been single by choice for 5 years. In one of those scenarios, a general demeanor and headspace are in a wildly better state, which is less stressful. Unfortunately, people can't seem to grasp that I'm happier alone and that I'm missing out on life or some other dumb BS. Story 19. I wish men had as many clothing choices as women do. I mean, when I see a woman in a light, airy summer dress on a hot day, I'm like, hey, I'm here in my jeans sweltering, and she looks so comfortable. Story 20. At my internship in Boston, a woman named Jordan smiled at me and told me she liked my shirt and that it looked perfect on me. But of course, we were dating other people, so it wasn't flirting, just a sincere compliment. I can't think of any other compliments in my life that stick out like that. People say, the dinner you cooked was good or whatever, but it always feels like it's something they're doing because it's expected, not because they just genuinely want to tell me so. Story 21. Growing up, it was expected that we were supposed to ask the ladies out. So if you found yourself as a 25-year-old virgin who'd never kissed a girl, it was obviously because you were some kind of loser. Story 22. One time, my brother visited me in track and field in 4th grade and brought me Little Caesars. At the time, he was 6'1" and looked like he was 26, but 17 through 18. The principal got angry at him and tried to kick him out when the place the thing was held was right behind his school. When he found out he was my brother, he called my mom and apologized. Story 23. My sister and I got lots of angry glances from school staff and parents when I picked her up from school. She was 13 and I'm 32, but looked much younger, but not high school age younger. Some probably thought I was a creep preying on schoolgirls. Some probably thought she was a slut and dating an older guy. Story 24. How about even with your kid? It happened to me last night. My 2-year-old threw a fit, so I picked her up to leave. She's screaming in my arms as I take her to the parking lot. A woman asked, "Is that your daughter?" I said, "Yeah," as I struggled to keep hold of her. She asked my daughter, "Are you okay? Where's your mommy?" My daughter just screamed at her. I just kept walking. The woman didn't follow me, but kept her eyes on me until I got to the car.